So I know you guys were all, dare I say, enwrapped by part 3 of my... Was it part 3 or... I don't know. The part where I read part of the book. And it has just come to my attention that this work of American literature it came out in 1985, and it was released by Zebra Publishing, which, as it has just come to my attention, is the same publishing house that released Books of Blood by Clive Barker, so, it's in good company, which is why this is so good. But enough senseless chatter. Let's get back to the romance. We left off on his rugged flesh. Celeste's fingertips separated Mylan's golden curls with a lazy caress before her hand moved slowly down his throat and over his shoulder. His loving had left her filled with a joy so profound she knew paradise could offer no greater pleasure than lying with him always did. They had sex for a paragraph, and they both came at the same time. No wonder this is a work of fiction. But, they were so enwrapped with each other. Luscious curls, rugged skin, lithe body, silken thighs. No wonder. Anyway. Come on. There we go. She had stayed his anger with her first kiss, turning his wrath into playful affection, but he'd not given her the promise she'd wanted so desperately to hear. How could he fail to feel her love and respond in kind? If he still felt nothing for her after she'd given all any woman could, would he never grow to love her? Would she know only the strength of his passion and never the beauty of his love? She knew she should leave his bed, leave him alone to contemplate the necessity for their marriage, since only he had the power to choose what their life together would be. But she had no desire even to stir, let alone leave the warmth of his arms, so he might see how greatly he'd miss her. Their many problems forgotten in the dreamy haze of shared pleasure, Mylan propped his head on his elbow and lay watching Celeste as she slept, curled against his side. She fascinated him, not only with her beauty, first and foremost the only thing that's important, but with her courage, which never seemed to fail her, and he marveled again at the strange twists of fate that had brought her into his bed, because her being in his bed is what he cares about. He had not been mauled so savagely, had he not been mauled so savagely, he would have been wed to Estrid 2 years ago, would by now doubtless be the father of at least one son, and yet never thought of a woman, nor missed the child they'd not had. By the mauling, he was apparently mauled by a bear. He had he has the claw marks on his chest that Celeste so salaciously licked with wanton lust. It seemed impossible for him now that he could have come so close to marrying another and might never have known Celeste. The mystery of her past tormented him still. He dared not trust her, and yet he could no longer pretend an indifference to her distracting beauty, when each time he made love to her only made him want her more. Celeste, he called to her softly, and was pleased by the width of her smile as she opened her sparkling green eyes. He saw only the delight in her gaze, and cared little what new deceit might fill her heart when she would again welcome his affection so willingly. A sly grin crossed his lips as he leaned down to kiss her, pulling her back into his arms to again enjoy the gift of her intoxicating loving. And with his last conscious thought, he wondered which of them was now the slave. 5.5 minutes, that's good. That ended chapter 9. So, I mean, the narrative, again, kind of like The Training of an English Gentleman, there's significantly more narrative in this book, but it's still pretty basic, so why not just get to the good stuff, right? Am I right? Anyway, I'll probably do a part 5, because why the fuck not?